Hi, my name is Tori Moschino. I am a senior at DePaul studying interactive and social media and media and cinema studies. I'm really excited to interview Ask Mentor Lindsay Semler today, who is a double demon. She graduated both undergrad and grad school at DePaul in CDM. Hi, Lindsay. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So I guess we can just get right into it. Can you share with us kind of your career progression since your time at DePaul and what you currently do?
Sure. Yes. I started actually working at WMS Gaming. I started my last semester of my senior year there, working 20 hours a week until I graduated. I was an associate engineer to begin with, and I was programming slot machines. So we call them land-based games, but basically what you see in the casino. I started with mechanical, then I went to video slots, and then eventually when I was promoted to core engineer, I started working on big event games, which is where you have 4 to 8 slot machines hooked up together. There's a large plasma screen above it, and everyone goes into bonus rounds together or compete against each other. So about 4 years into doing the land-based gaming, I joined this online Black Ops team where we were, building the framework, feature libraries, building lots and lots of games. I probably did about 30 plus games for them for a website, jackpotparty.com in the UK. Eventually, 2 years into that project, we became Williams Interactive, which is the sister company of WMS Gaming. And I was there on the online team for about 5 years until I got to the point where I pretty much had learned everything you could learn, and I felt like the next step in my career would be going to mobile games. So I decided to move out to New York briefly for a specific game. I worked at a company called Tiny Bop, and we were making educational games for kids. The game that I worked on was called Homes, which is where kids could explore different cities and countries and how to cook, how to use utilities in the different countries. I was working as the lead engineer there. I was on a team with 5 other engineers and 3 artists, and we were working in Unity. So that was a lot of fun, but once I finished that, I, of course, returned home to Chicago, which is my home base, and I am now working at AMI Entertainment, and I'm developing their iOS applications. So I currently am working on BarLink, which is where you can, using your phone, you can go in a bar and you can play music on the jukebox. Instead of having to actually go up there, you can just do it on your phone. And we also do trivia and poker as well. So that's pretty much where I'm at this point.
Oh, awesome. So it seems kind of like your whole career progression has kind of come full circle because you're still kind of doing games and stuff, but you've done a lot of other things along the way. So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
A really diverse work experience.
That's kind of one of the things that I did a lot of research, medical imaging and computer graphics research. And for me, I'm always looking for more challenges, always looking at how can I challenge myself? How can I, learn more? And that's kind of always, my end goal is to just be a better engineer.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like that's like a really important skill that I feel like DePaul emphasizes a lot is like what else can be done? What more can we do? Did you feel like your education here kind of helped you in that advancement?
Oh, definitely. I mean, DePaul gave me a lot, not just the classes that I was taking, but I was offered to do the medical imaging research. And, my first Java class, I really questioned as an engineer, can I do this? Am I going to be good at it? But I was pulled aside at the end of my first class, and they wanted me to do this medical imaging research. And I really, took it and ran with it. And it is very, very rewarding to, do something that nobody else has done yet and be on the cutting edge of research and getting published and going to conferences and speaking around the world. And I would not have had that if I had not been at DePaul. And the teachers, I have to thank both Dr. DeTore and Dr. Wolf for giving me those opportunities for the research to really grow.
That's really, it's really awesome. Even to look at your LinkedIn and just see all of the things that you've done. Do you have a favorite project that you've worked on?
It had to be the medical imaging research that I did. Looking back, it was one of the most difficult things because what you have to do is you just read research papers that don't really have that much detail to them, and you have to figure it out on your own. And you get to a point where you hit a brick wall and you have to figure out, how do I get over that? And once you do, it's so rewarding. Like, the best part of my entire career was the first time I got published and getting that recognition and going to that conference and presenting. And it was just, I mean, that is definitely the highlight of my career.
That's awesome. It sounds like a really, really cool experience. Do you have any advice for people when they do hit that brick wall to kind of keep pursuing and having that rewarding experience at the end?
Yeah, it's something that, it's really, you got to find it within yourself. I mean, it's something that it's you hit that brick wall, you don't know what to do. I worked with Lucia DeTore, and she kind of kept on pushing me. You can do it, and you end up finding that way. It takes a while, but when you do get there, sometimes you have to walk away from it for a little bit, come back, and then you got the answer. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like mentors played like a huge.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Do you have any, can you share like maybe an experience at DePaul with a mentor who kind of unexpectedly came into your life and has been guiding you?
Yeah, I mean, when I was approached to do the medical imaging research with Dr. DeTore, she kind of took me under her wing. That's how I got involved with her CTI. That's how I got involved with mentoring, incoming freshmen and getting more involved with the campus in general. So she's been, somebody who's always been like my cheerleader and always knows how to push me. She really had a lot of faith in me, and it gave me my own confidence. So, if I can do that to other people, that's kind of comes full circle,
So you mentioned her CDM, and I'm in her CDM. I'm actually the president for the incoming year, and I'm also involved in Upsilon Pi Epsilon, which I know you were a part of at your time at DePaul. Sometimes it seems like CDM students maybe aren't as involved in stuff, and sometimes it takes that mentor's push to get them involved in organizations. Do you have any stories from your time in either organization that kind of like stick out to you?
Yeah, in her CTI or her CDM now, I did have a few students who came, and I actually met them a couple years ago at an alumni event, and they had shared with me that if I had not been there to help push them and say that you can do this, and here's some ways to to further your education and get more out of it, they said that they really wouldn't be where they're at today. So it's something that I was able to do for somebody just like Lucia was able to do it for me. Yes. So
that's awesome. What was involvement like in her CTI back when you were?
I'm trying to think, but I think when I started it was very small, and that's kind of when it first started. And it had to do a lot of, just with females just kind of bouncing ideas off each other. A lot of it was sometimes tutoring somebody if they needed help with a project, or just, advice in general. I still went when I was in my graduate school, and I would come by every once in a while and just, see how people were doing. And it was more of just having that camaraderie and having people that have been in your footsteps before to say, hey, look what you can do, Yeah.
No, it's just cool to hear the history of her CDM and her CTI, because it was kind of resurrected probably 2 years ago. So it's awesome to hear that like the work you guys did is still making an impact.
Yeah. I'm glad that it's still going on. So
yeah, it's very cool. And kind of in that like academic lens, did you always know that you wanted to like major in computer graphics and animation, or did you kind of flip around? Because I was a major in the communication school, and also in LAS before I came to CDM and knew what I wanted to do. Did you always kind of have that idea?
Oh, no. I started off as an art major at Bradley University. Okay. And I wanted to take a programming class, but the art school there was so intense with, 4-hour studio classes and all day, So I happened to get mono and actually had to come home, and I happened to go visit DePaul, and when I saw the campus, saw computer graphics and animation with engineering, it was like I was meant to be there. So as soon as I joined that, I was originally in the technical path instead of the development or more engineering side. But after I took my first Java class and did my medical research, I switched over to the engineering. So I did not know that. It's kind of a curveball, but it all just worked out.
Yeah, I feel like CDM kind of has a way of pulling students in and really like giving them all of the opportunities that, I mean, you had amazing opportunities while you were in school, and it's really cool. It's still going on, still going strong. And you actually decided to stay for grad school. How did you decide when to go to grad school and what you wanted to focus on?
I started grad school 12 hours after my bachelor's.
Wow.
And the reason why my senior year, my last semester, I was doing both research groups, school full-time, and 20 hours of work a week at WMS. So I had a very full schedule. And I said, you know, I've heard from other people that once you stop school, it's very hard to get back into it. And I said, you know, time management is key. And I had that already down. I figured, you know, if I can just continue on going, why not, you know, why stop? WMS has a great education program where they help you pay for school. You're just required to stay there for about 2 years after your degree. So I took advantage of that, and I figured, you know, if I'm going to call myself a software engineer, but I have a background in computer graphics engineering, I might as well, you know, you learn a lot on the job, but you need that educational, the backbone, and the real understanding. So if I'm going to call myself a software engineer, I should get a degree in it. So that's kind of what pushed me through that. But it was something that, you know, if you stopped, it's hard to go back. But if you just keep on going, and it was a lot of you know, programming games all day, going home, studying at night, and I'd have 1 day a week to do something. But you know, that's how you get ahead in your career, you know, is by working very hard.
Yeah. So as a woman in technology who's worked so hard and done so many different diverse projects, what do you think of the state of women in technology? Because it's considered a historically underrepresented field, and kind of, I feel like the most underrepresented area is probably leadership, because only 25% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women. So it feels like it's the leadership that kind of lacks, but you seem to have no problem kind of like working your way up and doing all kinds of awesome projects. So do you have any advice or perspective on that?
I mean, I was at WMS for about 9 years, and for most of it, I was the only female engineer over there, and that's, you know, probably 200 engineers easily. And at AMI, I'm the only female engineer over there as well. To me, I don't really look at it as I'm a female engineer. I'm an engineer. And what I do and how I present myself, I can, you know, talk engineering with everybody else just as any other engineer would. The worst thing that you could probably do is stay in the corner, stay in the background. If you stay in the background, people aren't going to notice you, or you're not going to move up. I think sometimes women might feel like they can't speak up, but I have always been very, very vocal, and I've always worked really, really hard, and my achievements have just gotten me where I'm at. So to me, I don't really look at myself as a female engineer. I am an engineer, so.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome perspective to have, and obviously it's gotten you very, very far, and you're doing amazing things, and you've had a lot of great advice for everybody tuning in. Do you have any last kind of nuggets of advice to give everybody?
Yeah, let me think. Okay, yeah, one really important thing to know is if you want to get ahead in your career in engineering or whatever career you're at, give it your all. Go above and beyond. A lot of times, all I had to do was program a game, but I also decided, wait, this feature can be used all over the place. I'll make a library for it. I saw some places in, you know, where we were lacking tools for things. I did some automation for artists. I did, you know, game development tools. I even, a lot of people don't like technical documentation. Well, I've written a lot of papers. I don't mind it. And I do that on top of all my work. And doing things, not just doing school, but doing things outside of school. Doing your job, but not just doing your job, doing more than that. And then the best thing, too, as an engineer is no one asks questions. Because a lot of times I see people sit there and work on something for a week where if they would have just asked somebody a question, they could have gotten it done in an hour. Or the vice versa is you also want to know when you need to do the research yourself. So you have to, there's a fine balance between the two. But that's probably the best advice I can give.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed learning about your career progression since DePaul and kind of getting advice from you.
Yeah, no problem.
So if anybody out there wants to learn from Lindsay or ask mentors like her, you can check out ask.depaul.edu for more information. Thanks again, Lindsay.
All right, thank you.